Hello, I am Vicki Gervais. I'm the Director of Public Policy and Grassroots Engagement at the Greater Gainesville Chamber of Commerce. And I'm delighted to be joined today by Thomas Vu, a candidate for the School Board of Alachua County District 2. And we're going to get to know him a little bit better today. Welcome, Thomas.
Hi, Vicki. Thanks for inviting me.
All right. So our format today is Thomas is going to give us a little opening statement. We have 5 questions for him, and then we will wrap it up. So we're going to jump right in. The first question, actually, the first thing is for you to introduce yourself to us.
Oh, hi.
Sorry about that.
Hi, Alachua. Oh, no worries. Don't worry, Vicki. Hi, Alachua County. My name is Thomas Vu. As Vicki said, I am running for Alachua County School Board District 2. I'm 37. I've lived in Gainesville over half my life. I'm a proud child of Vietnamese refugees. And so I was really raised to understand the power and the transformative power of education, and what it really means to have a community behind you. I've spent years as a teacher, and I'm a leader in the district office in Alachua County Public Schools, and I've always advocated for high standards, accountability, and transparency. I really do believe that our schools and our leaders need to prioritize the well-being and success of every student and our teachers, and they really need our support. And we need to make sure that in that process, we spend our tax dollars wisely, because it's really a zero-sum game when it comes to money, and every penny, every dollar counts. So I'm just really happy to be here. I'm happy to share my vision and my values of accountability, data-driven decisions, and to make our school district inclusive, one where we really address the needs of every child.
Very good. All right. Well, let's jump in and touch on a few more points for you. The first one is a very general question, and it is, and you've touched on it a little bit in your opening.
Oh, okay.
What particular skills and experiences will you bring to this office?
I honestly say my whole life of experience really matters. I can get into everything, but I think the most important thing is being a teacher in this district. I didn't go to school to be a teacher. It's something I started doing in 2016. Something out of field, so I went through the now no longer existing EPI program at Santa Fe, which is like a year-long, like almost like crash course that teaches you how to be a teacher. And so just through that, it has informed so much of just my whys for running. So being a teacher, you're thrown into a classroom, especially out of field. There just really wasn't a support level there to really help me. It was a very sink or swim situation, and with new teachers I talked to today, it's very much the same case. And I just think we need to do more to grow teachers. But that experience, being a teacher, just coming out of like nowhere, really was kind of like the first stepping stone I had into education in Alachua County. And then from there, I just really kept moving up in the district. I was a team leader of Lyceum at Lincoln, and it's one of our premier magnet programs. And even then, you saw just a massive amount of potential that existed in the county. And even then, working with the students, I did crop and credit recovery after school and over the summer. And those are the students who are failing classes and most in need, and just having conversations with them and seeing, and just honestly how the system has failed them year after year. Trying to help 8th graders with math when they can't read is a really challenging experience, and it's so informative to me, and just how much work really needs to be done and how much work hadn't been done for them. The whole educational career, and just how school became a place for them where they didn't feel good about that, or it wasn't some place to grow, place to be, but some made them feel love. So I feel like that is really important. Working in district office, just understanding more of the inner workings, and I kind of worked in district office during a lot of these political upheavals and firings of superintendents, and seeing to where that chaos and different styles, how little children's needs are really addressed in all of this. And so I truly understand the need for systems of support for almost everyone involved at every level of the organization, teachers to grow them, to get them to stay in the system, and then for students themselves, if they don't feel supported, they're not going to learn how to read. And just seeing the data firsthand, almost just, I hate to say it this way, but it's almost decades of failure for so many of these populations and students. And yeah, I was somebody who was raised with a very, if there's a problem, fix it mindset. I was raised with an entrepreneurial mindset, you know, all my family and for the businesses, so there's really good value of education and giving back to the community. And so just seeing that to where we're not setting up our students to succeed, we're not setting them up to become members of the community. And if these students don't have the education they need to become successful, it pretty much leads to a lot of the ills we see today in our society and the things that I'm sure you've seen too. It's just a lot of struggles every day.
All right, very good.
I would say that's the primary part.
We'll touch a little bit more on the achievement thing in another question. So,
Oh, okay.
so that'll be
Yeah.
good. And again, no one's received these questions ahead of time, but this next question is a good segue to what you were just saying, which is what would be your top priorities and projects if you're elected?
So my top priority, I guess you're right, I did address on it, but one of them really is creating systems of support for our people, for our students. So
Thomas, I'm going to interrupt you just for a second. Your volume is a little muffled, and I want to make sure.
Is this better?
Really hear you. Yes, that's better.
Can you hear that? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just try to speak like more directly. And
yes. Yes. I do the same thing. I think when we're emotive people, we tend to talk, but yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Great.
All right. So priorities and projects.
So yeah, my biggest priority is creating real systems that support our teachers and students. So, you know, just thinking of a teacher level, we're 50th in the nation in Florida, and Alachua County is one of the lowest paying counties in the state of Florida. And so in the absence of compensation, what can you really do to keep teachers in the system? Well, make them feel supported. You know, I feel like that's really important to feel that. If you feel like your boss or the district has your back, that they want to see you grow, that they want to see you achieve, you're more likely to stay in the system, especially when it's almost impossible now to exist on a teacher's salary and take care of your family, own a home, with all these normal things people want for themselves if it's not achievable. So what else can we give teachers? And so I feel like that needs to be one of my primary focuses if I'm elected to office. And then the same extends to students. One of my biggest things is we need to create real systems of support that exist starting in kindergarten for our students. The state gives a standardized test, which literally lays out what skills they need to start growing so they can read and learn at grade level. And all the research shows that if you have a student who's a level 1, basically the lowest level you can achieve in a test, it takes 5 years to get that student reading on the grade level. But that requires intensive support. It requires intensive interventions. And so we need to make sure we have systems that track our students to ensure they're making adequate progress. To me, if we have a student from grade K to grade 5, there is no reason that they don't leave elementary school reading on grade level other than a failure of the system they are in. And then I've looked at the data firsthand to where if you cannot read on grade level leaving elementary school, your educational prospects is dim. So the data really shows in math even, if you have a level 1 entering 6th grade, your math scores actually decline over the years. And that tells me that there's a big problem in this elementary to middle school transition where all of a sudden students are more on grade level are actually performing worse and worse and worse. And that's something we really need to mitigate, and we really need to do things to prevent that from happening because it's a real situation. Those are my 2 biggest projects, but I also think too, like any modern government organization, we need to engage in real community engagement, and that's involving the community in our decision making. And right now, if this doesn't happen, if anything, I've been using this phrase a lot, but parents are left on read. And we just need to do more to involve that. And I think that's how you get buy-in. That's how you get people to truly believe in it. You know, I'm one of those people too who believe the school system in itself can't solve every ill of society, but we can start tackling things if we have the community behind us, but the community won't be behind us if we're not ready to listen to them and truly act on the things they have to say.
All right. Well, and again, you know, we're on the same wavelength because the next question directly ties into the 3rd grade reading scores. So the Florida scorecard reports that 3rd grade reading scores, meaning the percentage of Alachua County 3rd graders that are actually reading on grade level, are at 49% and declining. What do you think we need to do to reverse this trend?
Oh, so it's again, same thing, very similar to what I said before. It has to start in kindergarten. I know our district tends to not put any resources toward supporting students until they get to third grade, because third grade is the first year of state accountability. But to me, that's too late. You have to address the problems way sooner than that, because they start to build and become harder to solve as you ignore them. And to me, it's almost like we see students in kindergarten. We know that they're not reading on grade level, and then we know they're not making adequate progress. Then why aren't we putting our resources and dollars there? Let's prevent the fire before it starts. Because once it gets to third grade, that fire is already lit. And we're doing everything we can, I guess, to stop it. But it just becomes too late and becomes a bigger problem. And so to me, it's start earlier. That's really the biggest thing for me. And then I'm sure you've looked at it, you look at the studies with the data. If you can't read in third grade, it pretty much, again, statistically dings your prospects for education, success, and career success later on. And so we just need to start that early, because to me, if we're not supporting students before the third grade, that's 3 years of school where they're behind, they're being told they're behind, and that self-image starts already. You know, I'm saying this a lot. Students aren't done. They may not be able to completely articulate the things they're going through, the problems they're facing, but they feel those things, and it's becoming a part of who they are. So let's teach them that they're successes, that they can achieve way earlier, because I know like in third grade, it starts to become too late.
Very good. All right. Now we're going to jump into a slightly different take on this, a little more, maybe a little more controversial subject. Zoning within our school district has been a divisive issue. What are your thoughts about it?
I think as a board and a community, I think we have to decide what our priorities are when it comes to rezoning. So I watched all those meetings. I'm sure a lot of us did. We read the articles, paid attention, and to me, it was almost all over the place. It was almost like we wanted to have every single thing. We wanted to make sure we were being cost efficient. We wanted to make sure we had socioeconomic and racial diversity. And we wanted to make sure that kids would still go to schools in the community, that 2-mile walk zone. And just to be practical about it, you can't have everything you want. So I think that's when community input engagement really matters. It's going literally all over the county to underserved communities, border towns, rural communities, central Gainesville, Gainesville, everywhere. Just understand what the priorities of the people really are. To me, that's even sending out surveys, right? Because we can't address everything. So we have to figure out what do the people we serve truly value, and then create plans that match those values. And, looking back, I feel like it was a really big issue for me with rezoning, because we only ever got one map. There was never something we could compare. Literally, to me, it's create 3 maps, create 3 options. This map has these values. This map has these, this has these. And again, we go back to community, we get their input, we send out surveys, and we try to understand what people really want. In absence of that, it almost just seems like dictation from above. This is your new school zones, everybody deal with it. And to me, that's not good enough. We need people to feel like they had a part of the process. And to do that, we actually need to involve them in the process. And so that's the biggest thing for me, is we need to make sure we have maps that the community can be behind. And even if it's one I don't 100% agree with, at least I felt listened to. So it's something to where I felt like I had a say in some way. And that was completely absent before, and it just needs to change.
Very good. All right. And our final question, again, kind of touches a little bit on your opening statement, but it gives you a chance to speak a little more to it, which is, what has prompted you to run for this office?
It's been a lot. I would say that ever since I started really becoming rising in the ranks here in ACPS, it really was first talking to parents, talking to the teachers, and I've been encouraged to run for a long time. I would say since 2017, 2018. It's been a while. A large part of me choosing to run was seeing that our district's going in a bad direction, in my opinion. I don't feel like we're really engaging in the community at all. In just my role at district office, I originally was supposed to be creating projects that went around the district and really value people's opinions, teaching parents how to use parent portal, things like that. It's just almost like giving back, and it's becoming a conversation. All that was stopped under current leadership. And then even things like simple things like following federal law to engage the community about how we spend $60 million in ESSER funds. We didn't even bother doing that anymore. We just stopped, even though it was, a mandated thing. So to me, that told me that we didn't value the opinions of the people we're supposed to serve, even though we were federally mandated to. And to me, like, if you're ignoring a federal mandate, that tells me you're not even going to do that without a mandate, right? And so that was one of my reasons. And then also, I feel like we're going in the wrong direction in a lot of ways. So the achievement gap to me is a huge issue, and it's one I don't feel like we're actually solving in any meaningful way. I feel like we're engaged in a lot of short-term thinking. What's a win I can get this year and this year and this year? And to me, if we're just constantly engaged in short-term thinking, thinking about how your actions will be perceived by the public, wanting to look like you're doing a good job instead of actually doing a good job, it's death by 1,000 cuts. We're just constantly making decisions about our school district without a long-term plan in mind. And why don't we have a long-term plan? Why don't we truly engage the community in creating, hey, here's our 10-year roadmap. Here's what we want to do. Here's how we really want to support our students. And then here's the positive effects that we hope it's going to have. And here's how you're going to know if it's working or not. To me, it's literally putting out all the cards on the table, taking that risk, because that's what leaders do. They take risks. They try to do things to better the community, and they have to be okay with not getting in the credit when things get better, and taking the blame when things fail. And I just don't feel like we have a leadership willing to do that right now. We just have a leadership that wants to win and to win and to win. And that's, to me, a failure, again, that people we serve. And so that was really my biggest why, is that I want to see our school district on a better path. Things like going to 100% lottery for our magnets, to me, is another just signal that, like, hey, we're trying to solve those achievement gap by lowering the top. But that's really artificial. Why aren't we trying to raise the bottom instead? Again, short-term thinking to me, it's just not the way to go. We have to engage in longer-term planning and thinking to truly make changes and to truly grow our district and our students.
Very good. All right. Well, those are the questions I had for you. Now's your opportunity to touch on anything we didn't touch on, or close us out.
Yeah, I feel like we touched on a lot actually in less than 20 minutes here. I guess I'll just go ahead and close here. But I just want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak, and it's been really rewarding to travel around the county and just listening to people and learning more and more about this community I live in. I feel like even though I've lived here now for almost 2 decades, I'm always learning something about Alachua County. So that's been great for me. I just want to let everyone know I really am committed to bringing accountability, transparency, and just a focus on actual educational outcomes for our district. I'm someone who thinks that you should draw a straight line from education to every aspect of society, success, economic growth, employment levels, poverty levels, everything. And so my experience as a teacher, as a district leader, I feel like it's really valuable, especially paired with my passion for education and my passion to give back. I know the road ahead is going to be really challenging, and I'm somebody who's ready to take on that challenge. I want to be a good steward to everyone's tax dollars. So to me, program evaluation is really important. Making sure that we understand the results of a program we spent millions of dollars on and whether or not that worked. And we should really explain that to the community every time instead of just saying like it's done and walking away. Because without that, we're not going to be efficient enough to put every single dollar we can back into the classroom. And that's what we really need to do, to put our students and teachers first. And so I just, again, want to thank you for your time. I really hope I've earned everyone's vote. And if not, please reach out. I'd love to continue any type of conversation. It's thomas@alachua.com. And yeah, just thank you for this opportunity.
All right. Thank you, Thomas. That was great getting to know you a little bit better today. And we'll just close out by saying Thomas, again, is running for School Board District 2, and that the August primary is Tuesday, the 20th. So get out, make your voice heard, be sure to vote. Thanks again so much, Thomas.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah.